are having our final conversation for the morning, and it's all about the Seaweed Mariculture Symposium that's set to take place. We have with us Jalima Gol, and she is the president of BWSFA, Loretta Robinson, and she is the associate scientist for the Marine Biological Laboratory, and Mauro Gungura, and he is a Belize fisheries officer, here to tell us more about it. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Well, let's just jump straight into it and talk about the Seaweed Mariculture Symposium. What is it, and why are we having it?
If I may start.
Sure.
Seaweed is a fishery under the Fisheries Resources Act of 2020. It is designated as a fishery product. And so over the last few years, or maybe I should say decades ago, seaweed has been used in Belize for different purposes, including the seaweed shakes that we are very familiar with. In recent years, probably in the last 5 years, we have seen that seaweed uses has increased significantly, particularly in southern Belize. And so this symposium is really to bring together professionals, people who have experience in farming of seaweed and in the use of seaweed in different ways. And so we're bringing together our stakeholders, our farmers, and the idea is that we will share information, experiences, both from people who are coming, for example, from Indonesia. We have representatives from Puerto Rico as well, the United States, and we have our local seaweed farmers, the Placencia Fishers Seaweed Farmers, and of course we have the Belize Women Seaweed Farmers Association. So we're bringing in as much people as we can, because at the end of the day, what we want to do is to see where we are and to where we can go in terms of seaweed farming. And that is the reason why yesterday we also had a technical session where the whole objective of that session was to look at how we can develop policy and a legislative framework that could guide the development of the sector in an ordered form, so that the benefits of seaweed farming could go to the right people, our primary stakeholders, our farmers, our national processors and exporters. Earlier, I was speaking with Jalima, who is the president of the BWSFA, and we agreed on certain things that definitely need to be in the policy. I would invite her to speak a little bit more on that, if you allow. Jalima?
Yeah.
I can speak a little bit on that. We know that seaweed, we have already a market for it, and I think that seaweed internationally now it has a very large market internationally, and it's been looked at in this country as a legitimate industry, and so we have to come together and kind of create regulations around that and policy around that, so we can legitimize that industry and get a really strong foundation. So we as Belize, we have very high quality seaweed here. There's seaweed grown internationally all around the world, Indonesia, many other places, but we do have a very high quality and specialty seaweed here. And I think that we need to work along with the government organizations and other people here to really brand that seaweed and make people know on the international market what a special product we have here.
Ms. Robertson, would you be able to share with us what are the benefits from seaweed?
Yes, there are quite a few. Aside from just the health benefits of eating it, they have lots of vitamins, antioxidants, etc. But they also perform very important services in the environment. They help keep the water clean. They provide habitat for many different organisms, like lobsters, for example.
Yep.
And so I think from my perspective and the industry perspective, we want to not only valorize the seaweed, but the services that they provide as well.
Yeah.
It would seem, and I may be wrong, that the seaweed industry in Belize is small but still growing, correct? How do we get perhaps the buy-in or the interest of other stakeholders to become a part of this burgeoning industry?
Well, I mean,
Well, first of all, I would say that the seaweed sector is still in the very early stages of development. And I think that within the next 5-10 years, what we would like to see is a structured seaweed industry that, of course, will be guided by a policy, by legislation that will support that policy. And of course, what we are seeking is that it remains in the hands of Belizeans, and particularly small-scale farmers. Also, from a policy perspective, we are seeking that seaweed byproducts, for example, the valuable carrageenan that has multiple industrial uses in the food industry, in the cosmetics and other applications, we would want to see our farmers, through their organizations, such as the association, for example, to export these value-added products. Because at the end of the day, what we are seeking, obviously, is to ensure that the maximum economic benefits remain with our producers.
Jolene?
No,
Oh.
go ahead. I was just going to add really briefly that what Jalima had said about, they grow it internationally. Most of the seaweeds right now are grown in Indonesia, the Philippines. And so there is this large market, but we don't have in the region, the Caribbean, et cetera, we don't have the infrastructure needed to process the seaweed. And so part of the symposium today and our collaboration with the Nature Conservancy, who has partners in these different regions, can help bring them all together to help understand how they did it there, how we can bring some of those principles here in Puerto Rico or the US and Belize.
My question for you is to talk a bit about the association and the work that you guys do collaboratively.
Yeah, so our association, we were legally registered in 2019. We started out with about 5 members. We've all been part of the seaweed industry in southern Placencia, or in Placencia, all of our members. We really want to focus on helping our members create small businesses and value-added products and help them go through that process with packaging and labeling. Because I know we also started our association because Placencia is a tourism-based industry, which is about 4 months out of the year you get legitimate income, and we want to try to help or create other kind of jobs year-round. And so through value-added products, which really is one of the most important parts, well, a very important part, I can't say most important part, but it is of the seaweed industry because like Mauro said, we want to try to keep the value in our country. So we want to try to help our people here create businesses. So we work alongside TNC with fisheries, we work along with Beltrade, government agencies to try to help kind of mold the mariculture industry and give it a good foundation.
All right. Well, for persons interested in learning more about the symposium that will be taking place today and even after, how can they reach out to you guys?
Well, we're hoping that we'll have coverage by the national TV channels. We have invited them to be a part of our activity, and I want to take this opportunity as well to express our thanks to the Nature Conservancy for co-leading this event. It's very important that we have this kind of support from our development partners to ensure that we get the right things in place. And this symposium is one such event that we are very happy to hold today along with TNC. Because as I said earlier, it will bring together the right people in one room to discuss and to share information that is valuable to everyone. At the end of the day, this is exactly what we are seeking, to develop a sector that could potentially increase our revenue to Belize from the exports of these products. Also, at the national level, we should also be thinking about our national markets because, as Jalima pointed out earlier, products like hair products and skin products and food items are important as well to us, especially for sale to the tourism sector, where we could derive a lot of benefits as well. So that's exactly what we're doing.
Jalima, Ms. Loretta, do you have any last words that you'd like to mention?
If anyone would like any more information on the Belize Women Seaweed Farmers Association, we have a website, it's bwsfa.com. And I invite anyone to kind of check out our website and get any more information that they would like.
And I'll just add that the Nature Conservancy and the Marine Biological Laboratory have been working together to create a best practices manual for seaweed cultivation in the Caribbean, and we hope that will be available soon.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for stopping by and giving us some information on the symposium taking place today. Yes. All right. Well, we want to say a really big thank you to all of our guests who stopped by this morning. It was quite an informative day, leading up to, of course, the big Wednesday tomorrow, which is our municipal coverage of the municipal elections. We want to remind you, our viewers, that we will be covering the entire process from the start to the finish. We will be starting as early as 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, so definitely tune in as early as possible. But to all of our viewers who tuned in this morning, also a big thank you to you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can send us an email at oie@channel5belize.com. You can also catch us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, as well as Instagram at OIE Belize. Thanks so much for joining us, and please join us again tomorrow as you open your eyes.
Start your morning right.
Until then, keep your eyes, your mind,
And your hearts open.
have a wonderful Tuesday.